Hello and welcome to India Career Center. In every episode, we will try to deal with a current topic that needs expert advice related to career, career guidance, and career mentoring. Please welcome your host, Dr. S.B. Mishra, to the show. And happy listening.
Okay, welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. So today's topic is to talk about the 9 elements of guidance for careers of 2030. And I'll try to explain you as we go along as to why I'm talking about 2030 and what is the significance and why all of us should be sensitive about this topic. So I call this initiative of mine as 2030 Career Plus. And by the end of the presentation, obviously, all of you will know as to why I'm naming this as 2030 Career Plus. I'd like to start with a famous quote by this gentleman called Gerard Leonard. He is basically a person from Switzerland, and you can Google about him. This person is known as a futurist. As per him, the changes in the next 10 years, what we're going to see now in the next 10 years is going to be more than that of last 100 years. And obviously, this is the kind of radical changes which is going to take place. Okay, so the world is rapidly changing, and we will and see how it is rapidly changing and how it is important for us to understand those aspects while planning for the careers of 2030. And this is a program, the 2030 Career Plus. I have designed it for people, especially for children who are in 8th and 9th grade, and I will tell you how. But this is also relevant for people, for students who are already, let's say, in 10th or 11th or 12th grade as well, or people who are already, let's say, graduated and they are getting into, some kind of professional work, and how they have to get ready also. So broadly, my target audience is 8th, 9th grade people, but the information which I'm going to share with you, it is universal and it is good for all of us actually. So typically, a 8th and 9th grade student will be, right now in 8th grade 2022. So by 2030, most likely they will be graduating and possibly also getting into some kind of job as well, right? I mean, considering that it is going to be a 4-year graduation program, undergraduate. So many parents are confused, like the children also, because I think today what has happened is the information which is available is too much. By click of the button, you can actually get all the information, and that could be really confusing. So that is something which can be really confusing, and that's the reason why a lot of people are also getting confused about the careers. So why I'm doing this program, because I have gone through the whole journey myself of a lot of learning, lot of upgradation, and lot of personal journey. And what I found out is that the career guidance of today, what typically is happening in the market is just a typical psychometric test. But in my opinion, it has to be a long-term journey, and I will explain you how. So in my career guidance program, what I would like to focus is not just focus on a psychometric test, because it is much more than that. What I have also onto the table is that my own education, as you know, I'm trained. I'm by education. I'm a trained mechanical engineer. I've done my master's in business administration. Also, I've done a PhD in the business administration, and obviously, uh, 22 plus years of work experience, corporate experience as well. I worked in couple of multinational companies like JCB and Witkin. So those values and exposure also I bring along with me. And also now I'm a certified mentor for students as well as professionals. So I upskilled myself during this period. And as I mentioned earlier, that I have gone through this process of learning myself for both my children, Shreya and Suraj. So what I'm going to talk today is not something which is just theory, but something which I have done it myself and experienced it myself, and that is exactly what I'm trying to share with you as. And my aim today and my mission is that I would like to positively impact about 1 lakh students through this process of scientific career guidance and long-term hand-holding process. The career guidance cannot be just one psychometric test. It has to be long-term process. And I'll explain you how. So to start with, just to give you the overall picture of what is my process of career guidance will be. So I will be, so it would be a combination of common classes as well as one-to-one coaching classes. And these are the elements. I'm trying to now introduce to all of you the 9 elements. The first and foremost element is global trends. We must learn about what is happening in the world and how that is going to impact our future. So that's the start point. 21st century skills. I will explain you why and how and what are those skills. What are the growing and declining trends in the marketplace in the world? And then, of course, we will have to go through the process of self-assessment because every individual child is unique and different. So assessment process has to be there. There's no doubt about it. And then, of course, we will, next step would be the choosing of the right career path. And once the career path or career identity is chosen, then we have to decide on the education path. So both are two different things. I will explain you how. Today, I think overseas education is something which one has to be told because a lot of young children are, of course, parents who can afford to send children abroad. They would like to know. So I will give an overview of what is overseas education, all the details of overseas education, and the next element would be the one-to-one coaching. One-to-one coaching, of course, will contribute. I mean, the consist of self-assessment and also the engagements before and after the self-assessments. And most importantly, I will continue to have most people who join to this program as part of my community, and that would be a community for lifetime. It is not for 1 year, 2 year. It would be a community for lifetime. So these are the broad elements, and now I'll give you a little more detail about each element. So element number 1, and this is again, I'm just giving the overview. The moment you join the community as a paid member, then of course we will go more detail into this, but I'll give you the overview right now. So the top 4 global trends are basically digitization, decarbonization, population growth, and health. These are and of course, energy security. Each of these issues are the top global issues which are going to affect our life. Mind you, it is not about your child alone. I think everybody, all of us will be impacted by these issues. And obviously, that means that these will also have an impact on the children's career as well. So as we speak, the population in the earth is about 7.5 billion people. That is about 750 crore. And by 2030, it is expected to become 850 crore or 8.5 billion. So Sida 1 billion people more will be living on this earth. So which means that there'll be a lot more competition for all the basic things for any human need. And out of that, about 1.4 billion people will be more than 60-year-old. So which means that they will probably may not be in the space of working. They might be actually dependent, and a lot of them might be needing a lot of health support and so on and so forth. And we also know that the concept of fossil fuel is going down and down, and we have to now depend on the renewable energy, and the renewable energy investment is going to grow more than double by 2030. So that is the way the world is moving, and these will have a direct impact on the careers of the future. And by 2030, about 7.5 billion, which is approximately or more than 90% of the people will have connectivity to internet. So that's going to be the new thing which is going to happen. Now, this is a slightly busy chart, but let me explain you. If you look at this population chart, by 2050, 9 billion people are going to live on this earth from a level of about 7.5. And this population was about 3 billion in 1960. So just imagine the kind of impact the population is going to have on the earth with all the basic requirements of human being. But what is good or what is bad? I mean, we have to know both. So if you look at all the dark colors, whether it is North America, whether it is South America or Europe or China or Russia or Australia, all these places you will see all darker colors, which means that this is the place, these are the countries or continents where population is getting older and they are not replacing with the new population. So so this is good and bad both. The good part is that a lot of young people from Africa and a lot of Asian countries, including India, will remain young till about 2050. And so these young people might emigrate to the places where the population is going down and they are becoming older. So it is good and bad both for India if we look at it from the India point of view. What else I will be covering for my paid members? Of course, you can see that under the global trends, I just gave you the overview of what I'm going to cover, but each of these points, like how digitization is going to impact, how decarbonization is going to impact, what is the impact of population growth, aging is going to impact how it is going to do that, world demographic, possible immigration pockets, energy security, everything will be in detail dealt with in the paid program. Okay. Next is this 21st century skills. And under 21st century skills, why it is important today. If you look at this report, this is a World Economic Forum report, okay? And the estimate is that by 2025, about 50% of all the repetitive tasks will be replaced by either automation or digitization or things like that. Okay, so which means that more and more repetitive jobs will become automated or contracted. Now, please look at it very carefully, because this is something which is going to impact especially children who are young children. I mean, if you look at this chart, people who are born between 1997 to 2011, they constitute about 36 crore. Each of this 4-year band is like about 12.5 crore. And obviously, these different cohorts are in different levels. Some people are already in higher education or they are into professional careers, some of them in the higher education or higher secondary education, and few of them are in the mid school and high school. And each of these cohort will, over a period of time, get into a professional career. And this is the biggest population in India. So, which means that each of this cohort will have intense competition amongst themselves for everything, starting from education to everything else. And which is why you might have come across, I think, the recent entrance exam which happened for the medical NET. I understand this time there were about 18 lakh students who appeared for the exam. So, and I think 1 year back it was 15-16 lakhs. So 2 lakhs in 1 year. So that is a kind of intense competition which is going to happen more and more as we go along. So under each of these skills, we will have to look at what we need to do, how to inculcate these skills, because not that every school is going to do something about it. Schools may not do something about it, but as parents, as children at home, what we can do. And that hand-holding, guiding will be done for all the paid members. Next is to know about the growing and declining trends. And I'm not talking about just the jobs here. Of course, jobs are part of it, but we will learn about what are the growing jobs, what are the declining jobs, why it is important to know the difference between jobs and contracts, learning about how to manage multiple contracts, entrepreneurial mindset. All those components will be important for us, because going forward, we are going to see more and more jobs are becoming contracts. And so as parents, what we need to be careful about is that um, if you are thinking about any career for your children, whether they are in higher school or higher education and things like that, so the basic requirement, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, 1 billion more people are going to live on this earth by 2030, and about 1.5 billion more people on this earth by 2050. So which means that there'll be always demand for basic needs, human needs, which is food, clothes, home, health, education, environment, entertainment, transportation, communication. All these are basic requirements which will be always in demand. So if you're planning, if your child is planning to take up any profession which is going to solve any of these problems for future, then they're in safe career planning path. And we will see more of it how. So just to show you a few data. So some of these occupations obviously are in high in demand right now. And mind you, this program, what we are doing today is for guiding the children over the next 8 to 10 years. It is not about just for today and tomorrow, because this slide, what I'm showing you today, maybe I might have to revise it 1 year down the line, 2 year down the line, or 3 year down the line. So we will keep updating ourselves as we go along. Okay, but as we speak, I think these are the jobs which are high in demand. And obviously, these are the jobs which are decreasing in demand, not just India, but across the world. And that consists of, things like accounting, auditing, data entry, and so on and so forth. A lot of these jobs are getting automated, including bank teller machines. We all know that most of us nowadays don't go to bank. The bank happens on our mobile apps and the Google Pays and Paytms and things like that. So that's the future. And a lot of jobs are getting contracted. As I mentioned, we need to understand now difference between jobs and contracts. In our children's lifetime, I mean, whoever are children who are in that age group which I mentioned, 1997 to 2011, most of the children who, even if they have just started working in a professional career, going forward, they might have to switch over to a professional contract. That is how the world is going to be. So these are some of the jobs which are already getting converted into contracts. These are no more, I mean, the big companies are all depending on contracts or delegated, outsourced solutions. Of course, we will, part of the process, of course, we will go through the one-to-one assessment, and this would be more dependent on the ability, interest, and the personality of each child. Each child is unique. So the assessments, of course, will be unique assessments, and those will be one-to-one assessments. So we will discuss more about how the personality is important. What are the mental ability facets? what are the interest levels and all that. So typically I would suggest for people who are in the 8th to 10th grade, 2 tests are good enough: ideal career test and the stream selectors test. These 2 tests should be good enough to give us all the inputs about your child, which can be utilized for one-to-one discussion and taking the career path forward. So once the assessment is done, then we will understand about what are the global demands, and I will explain you how. And then based on the inputs of your child's assessment and based on the interest, ability, and the personality, then we will choose what is the most suitable career path or the future identity. Once we have decided that, then we will have to decide on the educational path. So deciding a career path and deciding education path are 2 different elements. Under the education path, we will see what are the steps. For example, somebody is in 8th grade. So what are the steps required after 10th, what, 11th, 12th, which stream to take up, and after 11th, 12th, which particular subject to take up for undergraduation, whether there is a need for post-graduation or not, and things like that. Whether during this process, any other additional education certification programs are required or not. Those are the things which we'll decide in this. And then, of course, we will also look at what are the possible options, both domestically as well as in abroad studies, and then freeze on the education path and make the timeline, and also discuss about if there are any qualifying exams which are required. And all these process will be one-to-one process after the assessment. As I mentioned, of course, this is an optional item. So in this step, we will look at what are the different steps for overseas education. This is an optional step. Of course, the complete information will be made available either through a common weekly call or on the recording for people to access at a later date also. But we will give you the entire detail during this module of anybody wanting to take up abroad studies. All these elements we will take up. Also, in this process, under the one-to-one, in some cases, of course, there will be a weekly call as well. Apart from that, if some parents are wanting me to take up one-to-one dedicated calls with the children, that also I can do it in this process as well. So coming on to the next element, which is one-to-one coaching. So under one-to-one coaching, each of these, most of these elements are related to overseas education. And obviously, it is only required if somebody is planning to take up overseas education. And apart from that, as I mentioned, if there are any needs of children or parents wanting to take up dedicated weekly calls or fortnightly calls, that also we can do. And of course, that would be at an additional cost. As I mentioned, my process of the handholding process will continue through my community, and I will explain you how. So every week on a Thursday evening, I will be doing a 1-hour community meeting where all the paid members will be invited to join, of course, and they can join and learn from each other. So there'll be multiple number of people, students as well as parents, where people can learn from each other. That's one. Secondly, there's a private Telegram group which will be given to you only for the paid members. There's a private group for Facebook, again for the paid members. We will do a monthly hot seat engagement. That this is basically, learn from somebody who has done. For example, one of my mentees has gone to now Singapore. So we will learn from him as to how he has gone through that process, how he took up each steps and went there, and he's now pursuing his master's program. So this is something which we will keep on doing every month, one hot seat engagement. And also through this community, you will be able to find accountability partner. What happens is when you have a partner who can, and this is specifically for your children. I mean, children can find similar cohort people in the group, and they can become the accountability partner for each other, and they can check on each other as to what they are doing, what is the plan versus actual, and things like that. So this community will go live as we start with the paid members, and of course access to the India Career Center portal that is going to be available for all the paid members. And these are some of the details of this is basically this is my portal, India Career Center. This is the dedicated Facebook group, and this is my dedicated Telegram group. So these are meant for the dedicated, obviously this is going to be a lifetime membership. This is not something which I will get over with you just by doing a simple assessment and leave it to you. And of course, it is not going to be coming free of cost. I will be investing a lot of I've already invested a lot of my time and effort in terms of creating this content. So I am not going to do it free of cost. And free of cost करेंगे तो वो value नहीं मिलेगा. So, but then if I talk about it, I don't know how much money do you spend on transportation for your children per term? So the paid membership, 7,999, what value you're going to get? You're going to get 2 assessment tests, Stream Selector and the Ideal Career Test. And number 2, the access to the private Facebook page and the Telegram group, which is only for the paid membership people. Access to the technology, the India Career Center portal. It has got wealth of knowledge about all the colleges, courses, not just for India, but across the world. And my own investment of time every week, 1 hour, and a dedicated monthly call, which I will do with the experts, and value addition to the whole process. Does it sound okay?
Yes, sir. It's absolutely fine.
Okay. And I'm of course available on a one-to-one basis, call or WhatsApp anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. We sincerely wish you could take something from our conversation today and be able to apply it to your life in a positive way. We value your feedback. This can help us improve our future episodes. So share your thoughts to serve you better. If you want us to focus on a topic which you think is of importance, let us know. We will share our expertise in future episodes. So, see you soon with a new topic and help you in your career journey.